Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of the Diz Unlimited podcast. I am Rhino, and I'm going to be taking us through this little fun Disney news and discussion. But guess what? It's not a discussion unless I have some people with me today. So joining me on this journey through these things that we love so much is Dreams Unlimited travel agent Hannah Anderson.
Happy holidays.
And then we also have theme park correspondent and mini keyboard extraordinaire Chloe Ferreira. Chloe, hit it. Okay, yay! I hope that didn't copyright the video, but bravo. Yes, hey, Hannah, could you give us one more clap?
Yep. Yay, Chloe.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
We love you.
Can you get my glasses on the desk? Everyone had a prop but me, and I forgot mine in the other room.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Star of the show.
Here we go. Somebody's jealous. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday, 1 week before the beginning of Christmas, and I believe 8 days before the beginning of Hanukkah, and whatever other holidays happen this time of year. I hope that you are ready and getting ready. If you're watching this.
What is Rhino? Here you go.
What is Rhino? For $500, Alex.
For $500. I'm just going to really quick, if you are watching this podcast, this is kind of a visual gag. This is how Chloe and I started the day. I went and put them on and then stared at her and went, she loves spaghetti. Okay, that's my best Jiminy Glick. Okay, I just want to say thank you for joining us all. I got a couple of messages where people were asking if we're still doing the podcast. Baby, yeah. This will live on past me, past everybody in this room, I think. We're going to keep doing it.
Are you killing us off?
We'll talk about season 2 later. But,
okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that, so what happened is we had a little holiday called Thanksgiving here in America. And then we had a little thing called Hannah Was Sick. And then we had another little thing called the Disney Treasure. And so unfortunately, like just scheduling wise, we weren't able to do some of those shows. But don't worry, we have a show today that is live. And I'm going to say this a couple more times just because we are going to be talking about our experience on the Disney Treasure. But if you are or are not following the channel or are new to the channel, or maybe you just didn't see it, last night we published a DCL fan or the Disney Cruise Line show that we do. I don't know the name. Sometimes I'm like, what are the names of the show on this channel?
Show.
The DCL show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then our website is called DCL Fan.
Yep.
And the same as with Universal. We have UO Fan, but the show is called the Universal Show.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I don't deal well with synergy that doesn't match itself. But
we
it
need
does
to do
make
acronyms
sense.
like Disney. Everything should just be an acronym.
Well, I think about it like this. So, like, if we are the Universal Show or Disney Unlimited Universal Edition, we are UO fans. So that's how it leads into the website. And then if we are doing the DCL show, then we are DCL fans. So it leads into it that way. And that's where I'm like, okay. But for me, like, I'm the one who literally made that up, and then I can't keep my own
it's because you're an artist.
theming.
Yeah.
Thank you for that compliment. But anyway, yeah, we're doing a live show this week, and then next week we will have a little special Christmas edition of the Diz Unlimited where we're going to look back at 2024 and talk about some of the highlights throughout the year. And then in addition to that, we're also going to have a little New Year's Eve episode where we talk about the things that we're excited for in 2025. And there's a lot of stuff going on with that one. But this one's going to be a little loosey-goosey, crazy live show.
Chloe is going to rage.
Yeah, guess what's finally
For real
happening?
this time. For real.
Guess what's finally happening?
What's happening?
You're going to rage about the Muppets finally.
Yeah,
so
I'm ready to talk
people
about it.
have been begging for it, and the people are going to get, I hope they be careful what you wish for.
Maybe sit down for this one.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Crisis.
So, yeah, before we get too far into this, I do want to remind everybody that this and everything that we do here is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. They are experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. When you book with them, it costs you nothing extra on your trip, and you help support the channel and all of the content that we produce here. So check them out, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com for a free, no obligation quote today. It is also brought to you by our Patreon supporters. We could not do this without you. And just so everybody knows, if you are a Patreon supporter in the $5 or up tier, we did do a live Patreon pre-show today. There will be some more fun Patreon content that will go along with the show or shows. I'm not I think there'll be one for next week. There might not be one for New Year's Eve. I haven't figured that all out yet because basically, like, I'm just going to be 1,000% honest. I don't want to work during the holidays, so I am trying my best to like finish up for the year, as I'm sure many people are out there, and sort of like be present with myself and hold space for
and your family,
the
and your
lyrics
friends.
of Defying Gravity. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Are we holding space now?
Oh, but
Why don't we
Hannah,
get your
I
little
wanted
hand?
I wanted you to put your little hand in mine.
Are we holding space? Are we about to defy gravity? Who are you? Are you an Alphaba or are you a Galinda?
I'm definitely an Alphaba.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm Glenda.
Well, I feel like so the idea of
I'll
the
be a
show,
monkey.
not to break it down to Wicked, which was a phenomenal movie. I
Well,
do
it's not
belong
fun.
to a community that has been othered. So I would say that I fit more with an Elphaba than I do with a Galinda. I also don't come from a very rich background, so that's another. Although I guess Elphaba came from a pretty affluent.
Yeah,
like,
she did.
Her mayor, their father was the mayor of Munchkinland.
Yeah.
Not her real father, but save that for
Oh.
Wicked
Hey, that's
for
a
Good
spoiler
Part 2.
alert. Spoiler alert.
What are you talking about? It's in the opening of the movie.
Well, I guess you're right.
I didn't say who her father
Do
was.
we know, though, for certain? Okay, anyways, we'll save that.
I'm not sure you've seen the film.
Yes, I have.
No.
They show it,
No.
but you don't know who her real dad is yet.
Well,
technically. I'm saying.
Yeah, we're going to do
here
a
you
lot
go,
of stuff
Chloe.
today. We are going to talk about our Disney Treasure experience. But what makes this different from that DCL fan episode where we kind of went over it, I thought it was a pretty good show where we kind of went through the different sections of the ship, like, like the lounges, the staterooms, the stuff to do and the things that we liked and the food and everything like that. I thought it might be great to take advantage of the live chat today and take some questions like that some people may have, or maybe they don't want to watch or haven't watched that DCL fan. So I thought that's how we would approach this a little bit different, because just spoiler alert right out there right away. If you don't know, all three of us, I think, absolutely love this ship.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
For me and Hannah, I think it's our number one ship.
Yeah.
Chloe.
It's close. Okay, guys. It's
You got
close.
to tell them what your number one is, though.
My number one is the fantasy, just because I
Yeah,
spent the
respect.
most time on that, and the dream is like pretty close to that. But my only hiccup with the treasure is the pool for adults and the hot tubs, or hot tub singular.
Yep.
Tucked away, too small. Yeah. Other than that, I love the treasure so much.
Yeah.
But that said, like if I'm prioritizing a trip on a Disney cruise, like treasure is.
Yeah.
I want that to be next.
I feel that. I respect that, girl.
Yeah.
Can one of you?
Yeah.
No, sorry. I just was like, I can't read the
The
this
chat?
computer, so I'm gonna just open it on my other thing really quick. I don't care. I said loosey goosey,
right.
and here we are. I'm the loose goose.
Yeah, be the. You silly goose.
So I just want to. I want to get into it right away because I feel like we're gonna have I feel like this will be a good hearty discussion. So we're coming in hot and strong, and we need to finally have the talk about the Muppets at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So if you aren't familiar, it has finally happened. The day that Chloe has dreaded has finally been announced. It's happening. But we did get an announcement with a little bit of a twist. So Disney has announced that the Monsters, Inc. land originally announced at this year's D23 experience is officially replacing Muppets Courtyard and Muppet Vision 3D at Disney's Hollywood Studios to make way for Monstropolis, and the previous home of Muppet Vision will host a new Monsters, Inc. themed theater show. But that's not the end of the Muppets, who are now going to take over Rockin' Roller Coaster by teaming up with music's biggest stars for a rockin' music festival. And I'm curious what that means, because are we getting like multiple songs as we ride through? Is it going to be one of those where you're like, well, there's 10 different songs, and the pre-show could be any number of a band that shows up, so it like adds that extra re-rideability to it.
I'd like that.
First and foremost, let's talk about Chloe. You know what? I'm going to let you guide it. Where
Yep,
do you
there
want to
you
start?
go,
Because
girl.
I do want to talk about two sides of this. I want to talk about the replacement of Muppets Courtyard, but I also want to talk about the retheming of Rock and Roller Coaster. So I want those to be two parts of this discussion. Where do you want to start?
I have
Rage!
I have a lot to say.
Give
so
it to
much
us.
to
All
say.
right. Why don't you start us in then?
Okay.
You know what? Just let it flow, baby girl.
All right.
We got
First
you.
of all, I gotta put on my filter here. What?
Yeah,
what,
swear
what?
if you swear.
Give me
Yeah.
your glasses.
Okay,
Give me
hold
your
on.
glasses.
Get your
turn,
yeah.
your
There you
turn.
go.
Hold on.
Put on the
All
glasses.
right. I think for our
Do the slide horn when she curses.
show.
No,
right.
I
That's
won't
her
curse,
censor.
I promise.
You-
What are they doing with Star Wars Launch Bay? What's happening?
Is a Muppet just a mop? Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, go
These
ahead.
are tight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, girl, they're squeezing my
Hoy.
melon.
Okay.
She's about to. I'm going to be one of those. I'm going to melon ball. I don't know where I'm going.
All
with
right.
this. Come back. Come back to me.
What are they doing with Launch Bay? Because that is the most frustrating thing. That
Yes.
is such a huge footprint. There were rumors. Yeah, here we go.
The Launch Bay deserved one of those.
Yeah.
Honestly. At Playhouse Disney, how much longer does that have? Little Mermaid, great, it's coming back, but like, do we
Is
really need it to
it?
come back?
Yeah, do you think-
they keep
all
talking
right.
about it.
Do you think they just like doubled down on it because they're like, well, we already said it and we just said it, so we can't like unsay it. You know what I
Optically,
mean?
sure, that makes sense.
It kinda
but like,
feels
how
that way,
long
yeah.
could that show last? You know, and that ties into another point I have later when we talk about the Rock and Roller Coaster thing.
Well.
Okay.
Why don't I ask you this?
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts, like on just? Let's talk Muppet Courtyard first, okay?
Okay.
They
So-
announced it. Tell me how you felt.
This ties into the show part too, because I love Muppet Vision very much. I have a lot of memories going there as a kid. It was one of the big attractions I did at MGM Studios. It was a great movie ride, Muppet Vision, Star Tours. We know
2
we're
out of 3.
2 out of 3, and now they better not take away my Star Tours. So
You know what that reminds me of? And I am going to be tangent today. I am a big fan of Will and Grace, and it's like in like season 6 or 7, there's a joke where Karen makes a joke and Jack is like, well, Karen, that's not in the air anymore. And she's like, well, I still have my friends and my Frasier. And she's like, Karen, those shows are ending too. And then she hauls off and slaps him across the face.
I still got
And
my
that's what I
3PO
felt-
and my Star Tours.
That's what I felt like you were
Yeah.
doing that to a Mickey Mouse and just hauling off and hitting,
Literally,
like-
no.
Yeah.
Okay, so Muppet Vision 3D it's a cute little show, but honestly, it's not 100% about the show to me. Waldo's annoying.
Y'all, girl.
Just gonna put it
don't
there.
even- wait, is he on my shirt? No, I got Bud.
you got
No,
Muppet
no,
Christmas
no.
Carol. Waldo's annoying. Sweetums is downright terrifying. He always has been for me. It's a cool like live in character experience for show integration. But when all is said and done, it's mostly the theater and Muppet Courtyard, the Miss Piggy fountain. Like even if you don't like the food at Pizza Rizzo, having that facade out there and the wedding reception room and the store's never open now, but the giant Kermit statues, the giant Kermit clock, all the little details throughout that area. And above all, this is the last project that Jim Henson touched. It was his dream to have a theme park presence, and the partnership with Disney just before his death was huge for him, and he wanted so much more for them in the parks. And I feel like after he passed, Disney didn't really know what to do, and then later they acquired them and they still don't know what to do with them. So it's just very frustrating. After this was announced, Henson came forward with a statement that said they can't wait to see what Disney does with the next, with Muppet Vision 3D. And Disney has said that they are preserving the film. That's great, but like I could have the same pre-show in the theater, and a new show could have popped in, without monsters
I agree with
replacing this, and I
that.
would have been absolutely fine with
Yep.
that. So if they're moving things to another area in Hollywood Studios, I think that would work out really well. And that kind of goes into the Rock and Roller Coaster theme, because we have that whole courtyard to play with. We also have, I know it's a long time off, but with the villain show moving into the previous home of Lightning McQueen, that whole area and that whole courtyard is open too. And I feel like they could just pick up Muppet Vision and put it somewhere else, or pick up Muppet Courtyard and put it somewhere else. And that's what they kind of need to do, because there's so many physical and practical elements of the land that mean more than the film itself, I feel like, for that attraction. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think and what our chat thinks, because I'm sad, but I'm glad that they're keeping Muppets around in some way. I do wish it was a more accessible attraction than Rock and Roller Coaster, because that definitely eliminates some of your older generations. It eliminates young kids. It eliminates people who aren't able to transfer from a wheelchair. And Muppet Vision is a show that anybody can see.
Right.
And that specific franchise, it might not be the most popular, but it does span generations. So I feel like Rock and Roller Coaster is such an odd choice for that IP integration. I'm not mad about it. I feel like we've needed an update for that besides Aerosmith, but
Yeah.
I do. I agree with you on the update for sure on the Rock and Roller Coaster. If we want to switch gears and talk a little bit more about that, because I'm not saying that it should have stayed.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. Yeah, I don't know. All I can think about is Steven Tyler. I'm just looking at my grandma. No.
Yeah, you don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to miss a thing. I think when somebody was like, "Oh, the retheming of it to Powerline," and let's not say a Goofy movie, and I know that it's like, come on, man, you got to let that go. They're not going to do it. Retheme this coaster to something that's older. Yeah, well, I almost said a bad word.
Oh, that kind
they
of
just
show.
rethemed it to Muppets, and that ain't brand new.
Right.
So that's
older
what I'm
than
saying. It
Powerline.
feels like it was a weird. And I know this might be very...
Feels like a consolation prize
Well,
to me.
no, I want to say that I don't, and I know this is insane, I don't associate the Muppets with music. And I understand that their show was a variety show that always had music. But to me, I associate a lot more of the movies with them. And I guess that is a big part of it. And you'd be like, you're insane, blah, blah, blah. But I agree with everything that Chloe said, where it does remove the ability to be like, I've never thought of the Muppets as being a high-speed roller coaster. So it does already feel a little gimmicky, and they are kind of basing it on a show, I would argue, that is already canceled.
Right.
And so it's
Yep.
one of those where I'm like, well, if the show didn't have enough appeal to go on Disney Plus, why did you make an attraction at one of your parks? And so it's one of those where I agree with you. I'm not saying we should keep the Muppet Show the way it was. And I'm not saying it even had to stay there. I understand it's real estate, but we could have moved it somewhere else. And I think Rock and Roller Coaster would have been better, even if it was themed to like Disney Channel artists or something. You know what I mean? Something
Ooh.
that could be rotated in and out and multiple
I don't
different
agree
types
with
of
that.
shows. But you got your hand up.
Yes, I do. I was just going to make a point of saying, like, you know, Rock and Roller Coaster is a high-speed roller coaster. So, like, what exactly could be incorporated into the attraction itself besides if they, you know, really put those details back into the pre-show? And of course there's a huge gift shop at the end, there's the queue experience, but like the actual coaster experience,
You're not going to get an
as it is right now, you
animatronic.
can barely make out those Los Angeles signs and, you know, Diane, whatever it is, bagels or donuts or whatever that you go through. But like, it's just, you're not gonna be able to see anything Muppety. So it's mostly going to be the soundtrack, and then I hope they're just able to bring over those props that we love so much from the Muppet area now into there. And I don't know if I've stressed this enough, but I love the Muppet Vision pre-show more than the actual Muppet Vision show. And I love that pre-show area so much. Like, I often will sit in there for one or two pre-shows before actually going and sitting in the show, because I love the run through. That's where the, Debbie was sick, so the union sent me comes from, and all the good Rizzo lines, like dressed up as Mickey Mouse, and the Annette full of Jello, and there's like a mirror that has, or there's Kermit's tuxedo like in a frame. There's Bean Bunny's box of fragile items, and I don't know, that whole area.
It just feels very not long. Like, it feels like they're
Yeah.
retheming this as the knee-jerk reaction, be like, we know we have to put it somewhere, but also being like, well, that other ride that needs this overlay. But it's also one of those where I was like, this isn't, I feel like when an attraction opens, I should feel like, and I had the same problem with Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. I felt like I was like, this is a really bad example of the route that Disney could go, where it's just like a pop-up, what feels like a, what are those called? Not Winnebago.
Pop-up camper?
No, what's like a small house? A lot of them in California are called
tiny home?
No, I just can't remember. It's
Okay.
it's like vinyl siding, and it's just a whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it was clearly like a workspace or whatever that was then like, well, we could put this one we could put what essentially is very visible, like a structure that supports the animatronic, one animatronic and a screen. And they're like, that's the show.
And that's what the villain show, I think, is going to be, because I'm sure that's only until Villains Land is open, which who knows when that'll be. But I feel like for me, I am only okay with this if they announce something maybe at Destination D next year where they are going to take over the animation courtyard, and that will be Muppets too, because that does back up to that area. So I'm like, could you...
Girl, I could dream.
Right. I would be okay with that, because, and also to your point, like, my kid can't ride Rock and Roller Coaster, and I feel like a lot of people who are Muppets fans are of our generation. And so, like, you know, like, we're starting to have kids. And so what are the kids going to do? Or, you know, whatever. But I mean, and again, like, to Chloe's point, not everybody loves a roller coaster, even whatever. So I'm like, you need a restaurant, you need another family friendly attraction. And also I'm like, can we quit getting rid of these, like capacity eaters,
I
like
was just
stuff
about
that
to
I
say
don't
that.
have to
I'll
have a
go after
lightning
Rhino,
lane.
'cause,
Yeah.
For that, like
I-
that's infuriating to me. And there's already not enough to do at studios, and then you're going to take away one
you
more
should
thing.
never take away at
No.
studios. You should only
So we
add.
have freaking Walt Disney World. Okay, this is like why we have the Florida
It's
project.
Blessing of
insane to me
size.
that at Disneyland, a landlocked park,
know.
like look at Avengers Campus. I understand we're losing the trolley, so you're like, well, you didn't take away something, but they are gaining 2 attractions that also
And we
is
lost a
going in an
trolley.
area that wasn't anything except for backstage area, and the only reason we lose the trolley is because the backstage part of the track ran through it. So it's one of those where it's like, okay. You know what I mean? It's sort
not
of like
equivalent.
and it's wild to me that they're like, well, how can we add? How can we add? And here we're like, man, who cares? Like, yeah, sure, we built our parking lot incorrect again. I'm
Right.
sorry, we don't talk about that enough. The Hollywood Studios parking lot.
It's not right.
It's like I don't know if they like did it backwards by accident or something.
I don't know.
It definitely was not like put together correctly.
No, the way that you enter from the toll plaza,
Yeah.
and then you make like basically a U-turn, and then you go like
Well, the fact that you have to go down into that tiny lane, and then it's like right there where it's crisscrossing with the other traffic, and I was like, why? Also, at that point, just build a structure. God, they have one in California. God, Britney Spears, can you save us? That's where I feel like I always get when I get too
I know.
stressed. But,
She's in Mexico now. No, she can't.
Oh, no. Well, I hope she's enjoying herself. But one of the things I was going to say that I was leading into, specifically with this coaster, is that, okay, even if you're the biggest coaster in the fan, in the world, whatever. Like, I am,
Go to Universal,
my
go to SeaWorld.
My 40th birthday is around, the corner. And I am, I get motion sickness and stuff like that. But, like, I was talking about it with somebody. I don't think I can do
You
Everest.
were talking to me about that.
Yeah.
I can't. I read the Hulk the other day, and I literally was like, that is it for me in my lifetime. I am 30-something years old, and I was like, I can't. That was it. Bon voyage. Can't
Well,
do it
that's
anymore.
the thing, is that the backwards part of Everett, like it messes up my head too much, where I was like, I never used to feel really sick on this part. Now I'm like, I can't do it without the dream. I mean, we will always everybody's going to start aging out of those eventually, whether you do it whether you do it when you're 30, 40, 100, whatever. But that's sort of the thing, you guys kind of hit it, is that Muppets too. I wrote it in the chat. My first exposure, I think, to Muppets was, beyond like Sesame Street. I know they're not Muppets. They're puppets, right? They're not Muppets. They're puppets, technically.
Sesame Street are Muppets.
They're Muppets. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So is Sesame Street, but then obviously Muppet Babies. And that's why I think I don't associate music as much with it, just because of Muppet Babies. She's just banging the mic.
My Muppet Baby's keyboard.
It's generational, but also like, it seems insane to me. Why is there not just a Muppet puppet show somewhere? Why are we still doing Beauty and the Beast in that theater when we did that Christmas show at Jollywood Nights 2 years in a row? And the thing that I've watched it twice now that people react more to than anything else is Kermit and Miss Piggy. And all it requires is a track that they have to sync to. So it's not about hiring somebody that's doing the voice.
Yeah.
And I know it's weird to say that, but they're not doing that at Jollywood Nights. So I would love for it to be something like that. Or like, even if it's just like, I think I'd rather a meet and greet where we could go in a room and go along the line and meet the different Muppets or something. I don't know how that's possible, but we live in a world where we have AI and the voice manipulation stuff and everything. And I'm not saying that I condone the use of AI and stuff like that at all. I don't think it should ever be used in creative fields in certain ways or whatever. I could go on forever because it's essentially just
I'm like,
stealing
I don't
from
think I'm going to
artists,
talk about
whatever.
AI today.
But, I've seen Scream. You can change your voice. Okay, Chloe,
Where
sorry,
is
go
Miss
ahead.
Piggy Fountain going to go? Just that's the last thing I'm going to say.
Okay,
Where is
so
she going? Where is she?
That's part of my...
Chloe's yard.
Okay.
She's
just-
buying it.
Hollywood Studios 35th anniversary, they had Kermit Miss Piggy like host a little pageantry at the
Yes.
Theater of the Stars, and that was like the opening line was like, "Oh, the icon of the park is my fountain," and it was like all about her, and everybody was cheering and applauding like that was so iconic,
Yep.
right? The new Starbucks mug at Disney's Hollywood Studios features the Miss Piggy fountain pretty prominently. So for this to be announced this year, I was like, "What y'all doing? Like, what are your plans for this? Like, are you just gonna
lying.
move this in front of Rock and Roller Coaster? Like, that's fine, I guess, but." No, my biggest thing is Peyton said she going on eBay. I'm going on eBay. That's
Honey,
the new
I
Treasure
know.
Thursday feature.
We all got to start a foot account first.
She's going to John Stamos' backyard with the
my
Disneyland
God.
sign.
Oh my gosh.
Of course. Okay, so my biggest thing, though, I've said this so many times on this show. Whenever something new is announced, they keep replacing things. They're not adding. And I know someone in the chat also said technically we're getting the new show replacement, the new coaster, and sure, but this is opening up a whole other can of worms. But when does it get to a point when they stop closing classic attractions? Because when we grew up at the parks, it was based on attractions that are day one or, within the first couple of years, like Disneyland classic attractions, Disney World classic attractions. But now they're closing things from like the golden age, the Michael Eisner era that we millennials love.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
I mean, I will agree with Chloe. The thing is true, in my small town in Massachusetts, every Sunday I watched an ABC original film, and I recorded them on a VHS, cut out the commercials, hit the pause button, and so like I saw Michael Eisner every Sunday, and I'm not like a Michael Eisner fanboy or anything like that, but you do make a good point.
I think I am.
I know they're not the most popular, but I mean, like, I'm just gonna throw a couple out there. Maelstrom, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah, but that's still Disneyland, and we fly across the country to go ride it.
Great movie ride. The whole point of this park to even exist. Dinosaur. Like, granted, these might not always be the most popular, but you have to keep some of these around and not replace them with IP all the time.
Are hinging on a new topic.
I know I am. I'm sorry.
No, not in a bad way.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the things you've named. You know how I feel about it, and that's exactly what Walt said about it. It's not a museum; things have to move forward.
Impressions to France.
However, something like the Great Movie Ride, I think, still could have and should have existed at Hollywood Studios, but they never updated it, so it got to the point where nothing was relevant,
and it was cheaper for them to just replace it.
And I like Mickey's and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I honestly do. I think
is it better at Disneyland? Yes.
I think it is a great all-family attraction. I think it would have been a killer attraction at the Magic Kingdom. And if they had done the queue the same way they had done at Disneyland, because I do think that really does add something special. And I would have loved them to have gutted the Great Movie Ride and added, classic stuff like the Swiss Family Robinson or Robinson Crusoe, like the Dick Van Dyke film, like gone through more of Disney's book of films. Imagine that's how they could have incorporated the Avengers into something, because coming out into a scene where it's like, this was the biggest blockbuster, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that where things, but they don't invest in these storylines to be updated at certain times. And that's, I think, another discussion altogether, where it's like, what's up with that? Like, those could make rides like that go on for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years.
Right.
But the Haunted Mansion has had minimal updates and still continues to operate, X amount of years later, which is interesting. Right. So it says a lot about that sort of storytelling and where we're going. But I'm saying, why not be ahead of the trend with the way that people's attention spans work now and create an attraction like if you had done a Great Movie Ride that can be changed and altered and upcycled over and over and over. And it's brand new again and again and again. The bones stay, but the flesh changes.
And y'all know there was supposed to be a Muppet Great Movie Ride alongside the Great Movie Ride. That was like part of the big, like, grand Muppet area that the land that was planned for what is now known as Grand Avenue. There's supposed to be a huge Muppet area with several attractions, and at the center of it was the Muppet Great Movie Ride, and it was the Muppets taking you through their versions of movies. And they could still do that if they wanted to, but instead we're just slapping it on Rock and Roller Coaster. But I'm going to stop now.
Talk about the really hill mad. That Chloe will die on.
I know.
Chloe, if
rest in peace.
If you go before me, girl, I am going to have an artist. I'm going to commission a tram that is filled with the Muppets. That is a backlot door tram, and it's just all the Muppets, okay? And it's just, that's where your gravestone will be.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Great Movie Ride was going to like carry off her casket.
No,
or
not
something.
the tram. I'm sorry, it'll be the car. It'll be the car.
You know what, Rhino, sweet, you let me know when your days are numbered, because I want to go before you, so that happens for me, okay?
Oh, honey,
I'm serious
worry.
about this.
Give me that drink. I got a little something special to add for you. No, God, then if something happens to you now, I'm going to be investigated. Great. We shouldn't joke about that.
So you can make me a Kermit shrine?
Honey,
he wanted her to offer so she could have a
You
Kermit.
know what's cool, I'll make the documentary.
I'll put you in my
those.
basement and put a Kermit suit on you.
Oh, my God.
This is really taking a turn right now.
Where's our Muppet serial killer movie? Like Muppets Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, shoot.
have the Muppets stop screaming.
She put the beaker in the basket.
It puts the felt on. Otherwise, it gets the Michael Eisner again. It's just Michael Eisner petting a Muppet at the top of the well.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I do want to acknowledge a comment I just saw go by in the chat really quick, because this is another conversation that I think Chloe, Hannah, and I have frequently is about nostalgia-based stuff, and it's not nostalgia-based, sorry, nostalgia-based stuff. And Hammy 62, I think I can just add this to the chat. Here we go. Says, one reason why we haven't been eager to go to Universal, practically nothing is the same since when we went as kids. Sorry, zero nostalgic connection. You know, it's funny. Our Universal show that's going to come out next Thursday actually dives into that a little bit. And I was saying that one of the points that I give Universal, especially lately in the last couple of years, is that they are walking that fine balance of adding while creating and innovating, but also honoring what was. So they know that people love, like Jaws is the 50th anniversary is next year, you know, and bringing back Ghostbusters, which is not a Universal property, but I associate it when I was a little kid. That's what I saw. I remember being like, that Ghostbusters show was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life. And it was probably terrible, but I loved it. And I love that there's a parade. It's not happening right this second, but that the Universal Mega Movie Parade that honors those sort of things. And I don't think that Disney has I think they're getting there, but I don't think they embrace nostalgia in that same way. It's a slippery slope.
Not at Disney World, they don't.
No.
Yeah.
Not
I mean, we
Disneyland.
have the 90s night at Disneyland where they're bringing back floats from
Yeah,
the parade
Disney
in the 90s.
Channel.
Yeah, can I
Oh my
tell you,
gosh.
I just should say I should eat my own words, because my God, if someone tells me where the warehouse is, where the Main Street Electrical Parade is, I'll set fire to it. Stop bringing it back. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that either. Please don't investigate me
Chloe,
if that
do you
happens.
am I the only one who loves the Main Street Electrical Parade?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Jeez.
I
had
like
to
it for what it
censor
is.
myself.
It's just come and gone too many times, and they didn't take care of Spectro Magic, and so that just makes me upset that Main Street Electrical has somehow survived, but Spectro had to be
I think
put
it's
down.
the sound of the parade that I don't like. Where it's just
Yeah.
like, bum, bum, bum,
You
bum.
love synth music, don't even.
I know, but that's
Don't
like
even.
It's just
original
too much. I love
synth.
Spectro so much
Chloe,
more.
could you take us in with some of the synth on the keyboard over
Yeah,
there?
yeah, there you go. I love it.
Can you play a little
I'll
Spectrum
do an
Magic for
interpretive
us?
dance. Here we go.
Actually, how about...
I'm like,
Okay, no more. We're gonna get copyright. I liked the echo, the little the echo. you
I
took
held
us
the
out.
note for you.
Yeah,
God, it's nice to have a band in the house. I think in
yeah,
the
our
new
house
year,
band.
I'm a one-woman band.
the new year,
I can bring a cowbell.
we're gonna move Chloe to another side of the room, and she's gonna be like the Roots for like Jimmy Fallon. And
Chloe's corner.
We'll cut to her, and we'll be like, "Well, the band's gonna play us a number now," and it's just Chloe.
Beanie.
Yeah. All right. So I think maybe we're done with the Muppets Mania, but before we move
what
on
Disney
to talk
said.
about Disney Treasure, and this is my cue to our live chat, please start asking us questions about the treasure that you do or don't want to
Yes.
know, because we'd love to answer those, and that will guide us through this next part of the discussion. But I do want to say, where are you on the excitement of Monsters, Inc.? Because I know that when we did our D23 shows in the
I was
hotel
very
room, you
emotional.
talked about how because you're a couple of years younger than me, and you were like very... you were very emotional about the fact that you were going to be able to do this
Yes.
Doors roller
I
coaster. That's
am-
been rumored for like 15 years.
Oh,
at this point,
seriously,
but
yeah. I left that movie theater as a kid, and I was like, I want a Doors coaster. Why isn't that a thing? And then that kind of like that melded into my theme park geekdom of like, I don't know, just researching what Imagineers are up to and all the rumors on the Disboards even growing up, and yeah. So yes, that's a very important project to me. It still is. There's an element of frustration because what Muppet Vision has to close for isn't even for the coaster. I know it's like within the Monstropolis area, but they're playing on a new Monsters show, and I'm like, okay, so is Monster Laugh Floor going away? Like, can you
please.
Can you announce these closures with like
Yeah.
what you're doing with the
Talk
other
about
things
the
that are
most-
already here?
The
Like,
most uncomfortable I ever feel in a theme park. Don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me.
I'm still very excited for the coaster, but now there's a whole new layer of fear and anxiety of what's happening with the Muppets. Exactly. No, I'm still excited for it. The initial, emotions about it has worn off a bit now that they've instilled this fear of like, what are they replacing? Where is it going? But no, I'm still overall excited. It's a new coaster, and it's a dream come true for a lot of Disney fans because we've always wanted this. So
I do love the idea of a themed area, like a themed land. I think Monsters Inc., at least my understanding of it, it's not my favorite Pixar film by any means. I mean, John Goodman is a national treasure, and obviously Billy Crystal. But I get it. It's been around long enough, and I think it'll add some new offerings. And honestly, I think Walt Disney World could use a couple more of those a little bit higher energy attractions like coasters. I think that's going to help with drawing in more of the families that are a little more thrill oriented. And but
I think it lends itself to really good like merchandise opportunities, like food opportunities. So I'm hoping that they go more of like a Tokyo route with some of that, because you could get wild with all the monster stuff. So, and I do think it deserves its own area. I'll say that it needs an entire land.
Well, and I hope it kind of comes to fruition a little bit better than Toy Story Land.
Yeah, it needs to be literal. It needs to be like Cars Land.
Yeah.
Like we need to be at Monstropolis. Like that's what I'm hoping for. So,
Well, Chloe, I don't know if you can do it. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you? Oh, wait, that was the horn. You already played it.
Yeah,
I was
you
going to
did
say,
it.
give us the horn. Yeah, don't do it again. I don't want to get.
I don't think I know anything else. Yeah, sorry. I can do. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're not renewing the contract with the band, so. This is the one and only
Speak for
performance.
yourself.
I'm just kidding. She is bookable for small parties of Muppets only.
I play the first notes.
Yeah.
The first verse of music.
She'll give you the name that tune amount of the song. The end.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do some trivia.
That's my kind of lab music. So yeah. Disney Treasure. Okay, we've had a lot to say about it. We've talked about it a lot. There's still going to be more content coming out about it on this channel. I did a little like Disney Diary that they're both in as well. But I want to go to the chat here, and we'll just kind of run through it. We're not going to spend forever. We're not going to make this like a 3-hour show. But I did already, Corey, I saw the question that you were asking about the Haunted Mansion Lounge. I want to start just because I saw one from Hunter. Let me see if I can just add it to the chat right here. It's real tiny. It says, how did you feel about the overall aesthetic of the Treasure? It seems to have a pretty focused design feel, but also is broad enough to hit all the essentials that needed representation. I think, we've talked about this a lot, is that the films that were chosen to be like kind of the lean into in order to develop some of the aesthetic, specifically like Aladdin. I know the Lion King hallway, wherever that was, the little fish hooks on the things that are like Simba's thing that Rafiki
concierge.
draws. I love that.
I didn't see that.
Oh, I saw it. It was when I was lost at night. I found them. I got lost in a hallway one night for like 20 minutes, and I started panicking because they were both. I thought they were both asleep, and then I woke up and they were all chit-chatting in the room, but it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was just like, oh, I gotta be quiet. The girls are asleep. And Hannah was like, where have you been, mister?
No call.
I stayed up all night waiting for you.
God, Mom, leave me alone. I just had a drink with my friend. Whoa, I didn't drive anywhere, but I somehow got lost in a hallway.
Yeah, that's even worse.
I do feel like we can say it till the end of time. And Chloe and I have a bad habit of doing the same joke over and over again. Are my Christmas lights out?
No.
It's the grand hall for me.
It's the
It's the Fritz Bernays.
It just sets the tone.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the aesthetic of the other areas, I mean, lounges aside, I'm just thinking of like the hallways, the cinemas are exactly the same. The two Wonderland and Neverland theaters, exactly the same as the Wish. The adult pool and cove. There's like slight theming changes to the, like the Hey Hey Cafe and the Jade Cricket Cafe off the Grand Hall. But that Grand Hall.
Do you remember? Sorry
Yeah.
to cut you off there,
No,
but I should have asked you this in the other show. Do you
The Wish
remember
ones?
what their theme?
Yes.
Yeah, on the other one.
It's Wish Upon a Star.
Jiminy Cricket, and
Oh my gosh, it's a random like little sidekick.
yeah, it is.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it
okay.
up. So
not as just okay, whatever. Obviously, clearly not as memorable.
they're
Yeah.
little sidekicks because there's like sidekick
But
cafes.
they're themed to
Grand
the
Hall.
atrium. They're not their own theme, really.
Yeah.
It's
Cinderella
like
or something. I forget. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it's all right.
So But I was going to say the Grand Hall just sets the theme for that entire area, though, because the lighting carries over the side like lounge areas, like we were talking about on the DCL show, the like Moroccan furniture that's in that area. It just feels so rich and warm, but also
cozy. We
still
use the
cozy.
word cozy nonstop.
Yeah, it still feels like home, like a Disney Cruise Line ship instantly feels like. Whether it's your first cruise or your 20th, like there's something inviting about those classic ocean liners that feels like home, and somehow the Treasure just captures that, but also has an element of Disney that they've never really done before. The Wish to me just feels a little too plasticky and too
Well, I don't
bright
want to do this. I don't want to compare to the
know.
Wish. I know that a lot of
All right,
people
we won't.
ask us because it is the same class of a ship, and I think we've done that enough. So I just want to, because I think for me, I really want to look at it from maybe somebody who's never been on the ship or who's never been on that ship. No, I'm not jumping on you. I'm just saying, like, let's not keep harking it back to that, because basically, I said it on the other show, is a big thing that we were told was that the Wish wasn't ready. Whereas this was ready ahead of time, which doesn't happen often. And so it's very clear that shows as your experience on this. And you might be like, oh, well, they could have caught up. They can't till a ship dry docks, and that's probably like a decade. I don't know how long between dry docks, but
going back to like
long,
the overall theming really quick on the ship, something that seems so simple but is just like so, I don't know, seamlessly there implemented was the carpets. You touched on it before. Every single deck had...
Hey, Chloe.
Yeah.
They're magic.
They are magic.
Like a magic carpet?
They're magic
Could you show us the world?
Hey,
a whole new world of
There's a whole new world of carpets.
But even like they had like similar like jewel tones in the
funny.
carpet, but then each deck had like, there was Lion King, there was Aladdin, there was Mulan, there was Luca. Was there Luca carpet?
Yeah, because it matches the theme of the staterooms for the deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had
Wait, there were Mulan themed staterooms?
No, I might be wrong.
No, there's a
There was
Luca.
Encanto. There's
themed.
Nemo. Yeah, there's a lot, but anyways, it's something as
Aladdin.
simple as the carpets on each level, and then the signage, like for each of the elevator bays, the elevators themselves. Like there was enough cohesive theming to go with the theme of the ship, even though there was a Haunted Mansion, parlor, or the Jungle Cruise, or the I guess there's a Lion King Sarabi lounge.
Like
never
flex
mind.
space.
There's so much to cover. Let's break down another one.
Okay. Well, I might skip over your question and come back to it, just based on how the conversation is going. Sorry. I think Jennifer actually asked a pretty good question, which is, do you feel the ship is more for those of us who don't have kids than other ships? No, I actually think that I mean, I don't have a kid. I know that there are more lounges, there's more stuff, but it's got the Hero Zone, which is massive.
Wait, she's saying, is the Treasure more appropriate?
Does she feel like this is the most adult ship?
No, I don't. I would disagree with that. I think the Wish and the Treasure are the most family friendly. Because there are more family pools. I think just like even little things like the way the lounges are situated, they're not separated from the rest of the ship. So like you can take your kids to the Haunted Mansion parlor up until...
okay, that's another question. Can you?
Yes, you can. I can't remember the cutoff time.
Okay, but there is a time.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's 5 p.m.
I know Brooke was
it's
worried about that with
No,
her
it's
kids.
like I just know on the Wish, I took my kid in the hyperspace lounge after the first dinner.
Okay.
And at one point they were like, okay, I think it's at like 9 p.m. or something. So you can take them in that lounge. You can take them in the Skipper Society up until a certain point. So, and then the coffee lounges that we're talking about, the J Cricket Cafe and stuff like that, like you don't, whereas the other ships, you have to go if you want, latte or something made for you to go, you have to go to the Cove Cafe, which on the other ships is located in the adult only area, which means you can't take your kid in there. So to me, those are the most family friendly. I think all the other ships are maybe more adult friendly.
More closed off.
Yeah, it's
areas.
just, it's a little more separate.
Yeah. The only one that feels truly closed off is the spa area, the spa and the fitness area, and then the back of the ship with the Cove pool.
Yeah, but I'd argue that
small.
the kids area feels really closed off. Like the Hero Zone and stuff. Like that was in the whole area where I was like,
feel like that's
where
true
are you?
of most ships though.
Yeah,
like, they're pretty tucked
true.
away,
Okay.
so people aren't frequenting those areas.
I think another good question in this chat as well from Christy is, aside from the Haunted Mansion Lounge, what will you do again on your next cruise on the Treasure? So Oh,
She raised two
raised
hands.
both hands.
ready,
Go
I'm
right
ready.
ahead,
Yeah,
honey. Go right ahead.
Coco the Plaza de Coco restaurant.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that because this is 7-night voyages, so there's at least 2 shows, and if you get the dining rotation, if you're lucky enough, there's 3 nights that you could possibly get it. So who knows what they do on that 3rd night for you? The food there was amazing. The shows are beautiful. Just the whole entire experience. I cannot wait to go back to that dining room. And then the Moana show. That was the best, if not one of the best Disney Cruise Line productions I've ever seen. I cannot wait to see that again. It was so beautiful.
I love like a Broadway style show or anything like that does stuff in front of you where it leaves you going, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And there was a moment in there, at least one, if not more,
Right.
where I was just like, I think we said it in the other show, and I think it's very true for the Moana show, is that the concept art does not do it justice, and it's the Tafiti puppet where you're like, oh, it's going to be a big puppet and it's going to go like this. It was like, what? Like, yeah, it was really cool.
That was something in the concept art. The concept art looked amazing, and this is
Right.
something that exceeded that. I didn't expect her to move around the stage like that. Like,
No,
I knew
exactly.
it was a puppet,
Yeah.
but for
Yeah.
her to move around, like her arms were moving, and then the transition was so seamless and like mesmerizing.
But then the
to
way
take
like
in.
it was kind of displayed behind her too, where it like had, I
Right.
feel like it like kind of had like the lava like spurts or something. I was just like, it was kind of really immersive, really quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something I touched on the other show, but like that you can't experience that anywhere else in the world. So like even though like you can see Beauty and the Beast as well on the ship, like that is a Broadway show that you can go out and see. So I like that is a completely unique experience if you're going on a Disney cruise. So
I think for me, I don't think we talked about it much in the other shows. Like, so there are some like, there is so much to do where I was like, there's more stuff that I want to do on this ship. For me, I'm like, I love to eat and drink my way through wherever I go.
I think they know that about us now.
The Skipper Society, we didn't talk about a ton on the other show, but there's a drink over there where it was like a liege waffle kind of comes with it.
yeah.
And you can cut it up, and Chloe
peppercorn
had it.
bacon.
She liked it. I didn't get the bacon.
I
in
know.
mine.
I'm so sorry.
But I really, really enjoyed that. That was really good. I think I'd go back to the Periscope pub because on our cruise they didn't. So each one of these lounges has exclusive beer made for them, and they didn't have some of them. Like the Periscope pub was like missing one or something like that. And so like there was one where I'm like, I'd like to go back and like sample that and take my time in the Periscope pub a little bit more, or go back and I missed the beginning of this like Indiana Jones show that they do in the Sarabe Theater. But then also the Sarabe Theater, I didn't realize had like a bar downstairs. And then the 2 nights that we were sailing, it turned into a little club. So I was like, I don't know if that's going to be a normal thing or if that was for us, but that was cool.
For Sarabi?
Yeah.
Sarabi felt like Fathoms Below kind of thing and D Lounge combined. So like Fathoms Below and the Magic, that was like the Tube on the Dream and the Fantasy, where it's the adult district at night that they do all the game shows at.
Yeah.
So Sarabi
Silent
is like your
DJ.
D Lounge during the day. So that's where they have like bingo and family trivia and family activities. But then at night it does turn into that adult district lounge where they have the comedy sketches or the nightclub later into the wee hours of the morning after the lounges close at midnight. So yes, it will be like that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because I felt like my biggest complaint, and I just said I wasn't going to do this, but with both the Wish and the Treasure, so it goes hand in hand, is they don't have the nightlife district. So it's not separate. It's sprinkled throughout the ship.
Right.
And that I both like that, but then I was like, well, for me, who's like pretends like he can dance, I was like, there's no way to dance. But now I'm like, oh, I didn't know this area became a dance area. Also, I didn't spend any time in that area where they do the apparently karaoke.
Oh, karaoke.
Yeah.
And yeah, part of NSYNC was there.
Yeah.
We missed it. I do feel like that is one con for this class of ship is that those adult spaces, and that's the thing about Sarabi though, is it's open to the hallway. Like it's not in a separate area. So I do feel like that's not as strong of a selling point for the Wish and the Treasure, but the Haunted Mansion Parlor more than makes up for that. So, and I do think the ships are more family friendly.
I think Diane asked a great question too. She says, having done other Disney cruises, would you consider this trip a must-do? So I think the ship itself is there's no question for me. It's not even in the same realm. It is my favorite of the ships. I think it just aesthetically feels the best to me. I like how it is. and I know it's sailing out of Port Canaveral, and it's 7 days, so that takes it to. Does it do Eastern and Western?
Yeah.
So I would rather do the one that goes to Mexico. What's that one?
Western. So it's
'Cause I feel
Mexico,
like-
Grand Cayman, Jamaica, Castaway.
Okay, so it
Any
does go to
lighthouse, or
Castaway
is it
still?
only Castaway?
I think only Castaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it do Castaway on the other one too?
It does. So you only get 3 stops on the Eastern. So then it's Tortola, St. Thomas, and Castaway.
So
You
it
get-
doesn't do Lighthouse at all?
No.
Okay, well...
Unless there's select sailings, I can't remember. But no.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
that's good to know. But the thing is, I am a person who does not like to be hot. And so the idea of cruising, especially Disney cruises to me, has never been a big appealer because I don't want to keep going into the Caribbean. And I seem to keep doing it the one time of year that it's cold here in Florida randomly. And it'll always be on the coldest week. And I'll be in 100-degree weather. And I don't mean to be like... I don't mean to be bratty about it, but my thing is, that's just me. Like, I hate that. I want a vacation where it's cold because we live in a hot and humid climate.
Yeah.
So like visiting another hot and humid climate sounds awful to me. And that's
Okay.
why I love California, because it's dry and it gets cool at night. But the Disney cruise that went through Alaska was like a
your
core
dream.
life-changing memory. Yeah. And I'd be like, I'd do that again. And I wish I was on a ship like this.
Okay, I gotta tell you though, I like day one, I was like, this ship makes sense for a 7-night Caribbean
Yeah.
itinerary because there's so much to do on board. And for me, and I do kind of feel the same way because I actually the only cruises I've been to have been the Bahamas or the Caribbean. And I gotta be honest, after a while, you're like,
I've seen it all.
I'm good. I've been snorkeling
Right, yeah.
a bunch. Like I've done the things. But I think that's the beauty of a 7-night cruise to the Caribbean is that you are going to have down days. You're going to have days where you're like, all I'm doing is hanging out on the ship. I am sleeping in. I am rope dropping the Haunted Mansion parlor. I am watching, the trivia show. I am doing all the activities. And you don't get to do that on a 3 or 4 night cruise. And you also don't get to do that if it's a European sailing or Alaska because you want to go out to those ports of calls and do the port adventures.
True.
So I feel
Okay,
like
that's a good point.
actually, like for the ship, this is the perfect ship, I think, for that experience.
I do also want to let people know, if you are somebody like me who is like, I don't want to be warm, I don't like to be like that. I never really felt warm or hot in the ship.
It was warm though.
No, it was warm on the trip, but I'm saying interior.
Oh yeah, I was always
I thought
comfortable
the
in the ship.
temperature control on the ship was great.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, okay, like, we could get it cool in the room, but also I wasn't like hot in the shared spaces, which was good. But
Let me tell you something though. I think if you are not a beach person and that's not a thing for you, but you still want to experience a Disney cruise for the first time, as much as I love the Disney Treasure and I would recommend it a million times over again, I feel like a 3 or 4 night cruise is better for you. You get on the ship, you experience sailing on a Disney cruise. I'm not necessarily saying the Wish. You go to Castaway and you stay on the ship, and that's it.
I don't want to be. That's the thing. I don't want to be on a 7-day cruise. That's like that. I think it's like I did a 7-day. Yeah, I did a 7-day in Italy. It was for work. It was a work-related
Okay,
cruise.
Lizzie McGuire.
I was brought there for the Diz. But was great about that, and that ship was beautiful. It was a really tiny ship, but it different place every single day. So
Yeah,
there
you're
was no like
busy.
ship exploring day, which also made me feel like I was like, the ship was so good and I didn't get to do anything on it. But it wasn't that. That's not what it was meant for. I feel like this ship is meant for that sort of exploring and stuff like that. I feel like, okay, there was a question by Amy in here that says, seems like the ship has more for the Disney nostalgic adult. Does that seem right? No, I don't. I think it's like a 50-50, honestly. I think that, yes, we have like the Aristocats
parks.
Lounge,
Yeah.
Scat Cat, the Skipper Society, the Haunted Mansion Lounge, the Periscope Pub, but on the flip side of that, we have new age entries like Coco. Chloe already spoke about that show. We loved that food in that show. I don't know if we're by ourselves or something like that, but girl, get that black bean soup, get that the
chicken
empanada.
get the enchiladas.
Enchiladas,
Yeah,
yeah.
girl. And so
You get chips and salsa instead of bread.
yeah, I
Come
love
on.
that.
We love that. Okay.
But I think, it's got that, and then the theming to the rooms. You said there was a Luca. There was, so there is newer stuff. Like the kids area is themed to Toy Story. I know that doesn't seem brand new, but there is a new Toy Story movie about to come, coming out at some point.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so I feel like it walks that line really well. So I wouldn't say it was just nostalgic. I say it does a good job. Well, and then the Incredibles, like the kids area has some Incredibles themed stuff and things like that too. So Chloe, go ahead. Sorry.
I just saw there's a couple people asking about the Haunted Mansion parlor a bit more.
Sure. What do they want to know?
People are wondering what the capacity was like on the cruise that we went on. We heard that it was about 50% capacity. Keep in mind, our sailing had a lot of adults, and this was pretty apparent when we were in the Haunted Mansion parlor because it is a smaller space, and we were trying to listen out for the audio because there's like ghosts that go around the room, and the music is lightly playing between each little show that they do, and on this sailing, we had like clumps of like what felt like up to 10 people in a little area that knew each other. And so there was very loud conversations going on.
So loud.
And I
was
feel
like, why is everyone shouting at each other?
No, we're inside the Haunted Mansion. Be quiet.
Be quiet.
But I feel like on a normal sailing.
You the ghost, the librarian ghost from Ghostbusters?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely I am. I feel like on a normal sailing though, there's going to be, maybe like 2 to 4 adults that know each other, and they're going to be sitting there taking it in because they finally got to be in there and exist in there.
That's a good point.
So I feel like it's going to be a much better setting, and I feel like, I don't know about numbers wise, I'd imagine it's about the same difficulty we had in getting in. There is a line that builds up, maybe a little bit more.
I think it's going to be, I heard our cruise was like a third capacity. Like it was
a
less
third?
than 50%.
Okay.
But again, 7-night cruise.
Exactly.
So you've got
There's more nights to do it. So
Also,
there's no reservation.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It will be timed. You only have 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And unless there's like no wait. So there was a sign. I saw it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it will. So if you're on a ship that is full, it's 7 nights, like they just said, but you will have the opportunity to be able to experience it. So it's not one of those like, don't worry about being on a 7-day cruise and then not getting to do it.
Yeah, you'll get to do it.
And I maybe you guys feel differently, but I feel like I think we were all. That was the thing we were like, we are so excited to do this thing, and we're going to live in here. And even Brooke was like that, our friend Brooke.
Yeah. Brooke did live in there.
And she did. She was in there more than anybody I ever seen in my life. But it was one of those things where I didn't feel like we didn't spend enough time in there. We were on a 3-night cruise. And it actually made me feel like where I was like, I kind of wish I had spent more time in some of the other areas. Like we don't want people to sleep on the Jade Cricket Cafe because we felt like they had some of the best and the most original drinks on the entire ship that were also very affordable. I'm going to be 100% honest with you and watch our Haunted Mansion video experience that's also on this YouTube channel. But if you're a pure listener, spoiler alert, the drinks suck.
I liked one, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was, but also we didn't try them all either, so I don't want to be like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those where I feel like we tried enough.
I gotta be honest, if the drinks were better, I probably would have spent more.
Yeah, I think so.
Time in there.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's a really good point.
And maybe that was on purpose.
I think there were good drinks to be had on the ship, though. Like, I had a really good, we had a really good espresso martini in the Cove Cafe. But also, like Chloe, she's with me too. Like, I think the Jade Cricket had those really good drinks. And even if what I really appreciated is that I feel like, and I paid attention to it, everywhere we went had really fun mocktail and, as they say in the Haunted Mansion bar, spirit-free drinks, which was a lot of fun. So I feel like it's not. I don't want anyone to think these really cool themed spaces are literally just designed for drinkers, because the Haunted Mansion parlor had 4 of their own themed sodas that you can get. That if you want to get the Chloe's favorite character, the Hatbox Ghost. You can get a sipper, and that comes with like 2 sodas instead of the drink if you want that. All right? Or no, I'm sorry. It was if you buy one of the mugs and you don't drink, I think it was you get 2 sodas to go with
Yes,
that.
yeah.
to equal the
Fetty
drink.
told
I
us
can't
that.
wait to see what the future holds for this. Like I talked about in the DCL show, but I can't wait to see what Halloween looks like on this ship, because having the first Haunted Mansion parlor lounge, if they could maybe incorporate Hatbox or I don't know, something, the Hitchhiking Ghost to meet you in the Grand Hall would be
That'd
cool.
be so cool.
I also, the future of the souvenir glasses, like how have they not done a special Leota mug, because they had one in Disneyland Club 33 over there and Walt Disney World. They all have different colorways. How have they not done a special
Well,
one
they
for
did
the
those
cruise?
exclusive characters. They did the captain and the
I'm
mermaid.
sorry,
Right,
but
but
future,
yeah,
though,
future
because
mugs,
Leota
yeah.
comes up in that mirror, and she's essential to the Haunted
Yeah.
Mansion story for
Right.
making those spirits materialize. I'm like, I don't know my
Materialize.
Haunted Mansion lore right now.
I'm going to give you, I feel like just because we're running a little bit out of time here, I want maybe you guys to think about it, and I'll go first, but kind of if you have a tip for anybody on the ship, I feel like mine is put if you're the group, or if you're not a late sleeper, give yourself the time and the space to maybe like after hours, after the last dinner, like it got quiet pretty early, and the people who want to be out after that are going to be in the lounges. Take the time to walk back and forth, like go from one end of the ship to the other. Go like don't just like go up and down the thing. Go like peek into the hallways where the staterooms are, because you can see all like the fish hooks and we can't say it enough, and I know you'll think we're insane until you actually see it yourself, but the carpets on this ship are works of art.
Yeah.
And I just think like stay up late and wander, because it is so peaceful at night, but
It
also again, that grand hall, there's so many details in that, like chandelier that has like the nods to the other Disney cruise ships on it. The carpet that's like the fountains that flow into each other. Like go around, ask cast members on the ship about the different hidden details and things like that. Like, but there's a lot of like little nooks and areas that you can like sit and hang, or just like, if you want a cocktail, or, just enjoy a soda or water or ice cream cone or something like that, there's so many like really cool little spots on this ship that I think it's like, again, I want to say cozy. It was cozy.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was.
You got one?
Tip. My tip is don't forget they have banana and strawberry flavors on Castaway Key Day.
Jeez, you and the freaking
The banana soft serve is amazing.
Give 'em
Oh
your
my
count,
goodness!
Chloe.
And what my
She
real
had-
my real tip.
Yeah, how many
go
do you
ahead.
have one of those in one day?
The banana one I had 8.
One day, baby, not the whole cruise.
One
Yeah,
day.
and we were like, oh,
Well, okay, so
she won.
I'll tell the story another time. It's okay. My real tip though, on this cruise, I'm trying to decipher if this really played into our overall experience versus a Wish, because on my Wish sailing, I was located mid lower deck. This one we were forward deck 11. We left our room within a minute. I was at the ice cream station, and all those little quickie walk up.
Yeah, we
food
were
counters.
right where the Donald's like cantina.
Yeah, which
and
is
Yeah,
right by
that
the
was
pool,
great.
which is right by the Funnel Vision
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
which is right by the
Marceline Marcus
adult
through the other
cove
door.
up the
Yeah.
stairs. Like we just a quick walk across the pool deck, which always feels quicker than when you're walking internally.
I think this was the best area I've stayed.
yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like if it's within your budget to stay deck 11 forward, I cannot recommend that location enough.
And like you go right out your room to the elevator banks right there, and like hit 3 and you're down right.
Yeah.
That bank is right where any of the restaurants are. So you don't have to be like, oh, I'm on the wrong side, I got to walk over. I was like, everything. That's how when I got lost, I found the room again, because I was
Yeah.
like, well, I know exactly where to go on deck 3 because it's right where everything is. And I 100%.
I guess the real thing is to make sure that you're, if it's as important to you, to not get a mid room, because there are no, there's no elevator bay mid ship. So
yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Got a tip?
Yeah, I mean, my tip would be to prioritize experiencing the ship. I think it is worth budgeting and saving for. I think don't be intimidated by a 7-night itinerary. And I also think in terms of booking a cruise, so because this is the newest ship and there's like pretty high demand for it, like I've been looking at cruises into next year, and like they're already like booked up 50+%. Is like, if you're thinking about going, go ahead and book it. Up until that final payment, you can cancel it, get a full refund, move your date, because Disney Cruise Line is demand-based pricing. So the more people that book it, the more expensive it's going to get. Right now, Disney Cruise Line is offering their 50% off deposit promotion right now. So this would even be a great Christmas gift idea, just to say like, hey, we're going on a cruise in 2026, 2025. And then that way you have time to save for it. But yeah, I mean, that's for me, like I said, all I can think about is like, when can I get on the ship again? And, you know, being local and having this opportunity to sail on it for a preview, we're a little bit spoiled, but I'm ready to save up for that 7-night cruise.
I am somebody who is I'm not anti-Disney Cruise Line at all, but I was never, because it seems like a luxury to me, and sometimes I don't cling to those luxury things that same way. I do feel like this was the thing where I was like, I've been changed because I knew you. Brought it back to Wicked. But yeah, it really was the thing where I was like, I get it. It very much, the experience reminded me of the first time I went to Disneyland, where I was like, I get it. And I fell in love with Disneyland, and I was like, this is dangerous. But I think it's an absolutely beautiful ship. I would love to hear other people who start sailing on it. I would love to hear how your experience went, some of your favorite things, the hidden gems, the lounges you love, the food you had, all that stuff. We love to get a dialogue going here. So if you are watching this video, please leave some comments on it. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you are listening to this podcast, please rate and review it whenever you have the time to do that. I want to thank Chloe and Hannah for having this conversation with me. I want to remind everybody out there who is listening and watching that we will have little special episodes. So don't get on us about it not being like heavy Disney news, heavy whatever. We're doing a little fun Christmas episode. We're going to do a little fun New Year's Eve episode for you, just because, you know, I feel like we're a part of this community, and we do really appreciate all of you for giving us the space to be able to do this thing that we love and share this love with all of you. And I hope you share all that love with the people around you, and can hopefully, you know, we're happy to do it. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody out there. Thank you for the support throughout this year. And if you want to give this a thumbs up before you're done here, that would be wonderful. But that is going to do it for us. I think we got some pizza in the lobby waiting.
Woo!
Pizza.
Not yet. It's coming. So.
Pizza.
Who said you guys could order a pizza?
Who said you guys could order pizza?
Anyway, thank you, everybody. We will see you soon with another episode of The Diz Unlimited.